And we're live. Welcome. Welcome to Uncoachable, a podcast for parents and coaches by parents and coaches. As always, I am your host, Coach Patrick. The guy sitting across from me is Coach Lance. Coach, how you doing? Whatnot?
I don't know. My mic stand's a little struggling. Hard. Guess not staying up very well.
Mike, so you're saying your
I got it.
stand is limp?
Just had to tighten it a little bit.
Coach Logan, how you doing today?
My bad.
That's known as a pivot.
Moving on.
That's known as a pivot in the industry, folks. I'm doing fantastic.
I'm good too, Coach.
Okay.
How are you? How are you?
Oh man, I'm good. My mic stand is at full sail, so we are good to go.
Oh, if we didn't start that off with enough innuendos.
Innuendo.
Whose window?
To my left, Jake Taylor was good enough to go get me a bucket of KFC chicken.
Thanks, Jake.
For Joe Boo. Joe Boo, appreciate you being here.
Welcome, Joe Boo. Thank you.
He gets a whistle from the ladies that aren't here.
Oh, Joe Boo is a child.
Yeah,
I took him for a walk the other day. Chick magnet.
Yes.
Bruh.
I believe it. I mean,
Let me tell you. They're like, oh,
Not brew, brah.
oh, what a cute little dog. What is that? It's Joe Boo. What's that, Joe Boo? Get out of here.
I always thought that was a Boston Terrier.
And restart.
No. So, without further dudes, our episode this week, we're going to talk about a couple of different things since we took a hiatus.
He was trying to say hiatus.
I did. Congratulations. Thank you.
You realized
Thank you
I
for
was ridiculing him.
We had just a week hiatus.
Week hiatus for last week.
It was my son's birthday, 4th birthday.
We took a quick commercial break.
So, anyway.
Where are we going with that,
Yeah,
guys?
you were
no
we were
idea.
heading
I have no
somewhere.
idea. I
We're
was
just
heading
not
somewhere.
exactly sure where.
Jumped off the bridge.
Head first.
Yeah.
So,
CTE's really kicking in, isn't it?
yeah, you're telling me. I wanted to briefly touch on, and probably not so briefly, if you guys know us.
Not very well. It's only been 2.
Yeah, right. We've done this a lot of times. You guys haven't heard him yet. Coach had a tremendous idea about parental guidance. You want to lead us in there, Bo?
Who's Bo?
Bruh.
Oh, bruh. My bad. Okay.
Brew. Brew, would you lead us in?
My boss's name's Bo. Sometimes I get this screwed up.
Yes, I'd love to. Recently, we had an event come up with a player on our team as well as their parents. And one parent lost their job, and the other one is disabled from the military, if I recall correctly. And so, what's the first thing that gets cut out? You if you lose your job, you start cutting your extra expenses. As a coach and as a person that has a family, and in all honesty, as a person that struggles with money as well, as I'm sure, like I said, 90% of the population does. It's something I would hate. The kid's a great kid. The family's a good family. And I would hate to have that hinder the player's ability to play and to succeed and grow and learn and become the best player that they can be. I'm talking a little somber. I'm sorry, because it is a little bit of a somber topic. But with that, parents, what I wanted to lead in with was, don't ever be afraid to talk to your manager, your team manager, and explain the situation. Because I can tell you right now that as a coach myself, normally I can, I have the funds to pay for my son's sports, but I am more than willing to turn around and to help fundraise to even put money into that fundraiser for the player, and even turn around. And I did it last year. We raised. I brought in more money than what I was supposed to pay, and the extras that I brought in, I turned around and I gave it to who I thought needed it. And so, those are things. It's something that I want to make sure that you as parents understand where a coach is coming from. We're more than just a coach. We try being role models. And with that comes, we're willing to give back as much as we can give back to help your player be able to be on the team, play, and...
Well, bottom line, if I didn't want you on the team, I wouldn't have offered you a spot. When I offered you a spot, we made a commitment together. Hey, this is what I'm willing to do for you for this amount of money, essentially.
Yeah.
And we understand.
And we don't get paid. We don't get paid.
Get paid.
It's not that we're getting paid for it. It's just literally the money is just to
pay our tournament fees.
Pay our tournament fees and
we can't
field
afford
fees
that.
and all that.
So when it comes to something like that, where an unforeseen situation arises, we're in this together.
Yeah,
we're a team.
Yep.
And that's really what we wanted to talk about. We are a team, and when you accept a spot on my team, we are a team.
More than a team, almost family.
Yeah. And
baseball family, and with that, neither one of us wants to see your player. I don't want to say suffer. I don't want to say take the brunt of it, because that's not what it is.
Right.
But not be able to do some of the things that they love doing.
Yeah, and I mean, we will do anything that we can. If I gotta, there are places all over that will, especially in the city that you are playing in.
Oh yeah.
Say, hey, I got to. I know I could go to the company I work for. Say I got this kid that can't afford to. His mom just lost her job. Blah blah blah. Would you guys be willing to sponsor this kid for any amount of money that would help him out? And I'm sure that they would. I'm sure that at the very least they would be willing to sponsor some sort of a fundraising event for that person, or whatever it is.
Turn around and just something, in exchange, be able to put their name on a team banner, or you know what, heck, I don't even care. Put it on the sleeve of the shirt.
Absolutely, abso-freaking-lutely.
Something to think about.
Yep.
NBA's doing it.
Yeah. So
Soccer does it.
Yeah.
Sorry, it's not a real sport.
Man. Just when have you ever heard somebody like just reach into your mouth and grab the words you were going to say and then say them before you?
You're welcome. You're welcome.
No,
if that had actually happened during a soccer game, I would have been writhing on the floor in pain. Anyway, what were you going to say, Coach? I'm sorry.
You guys are just absolutely correct that any coach that cares is going to do whatever it takes to,
I know for a fact.
Coach has to care a little bit. If he wouldn't be a coach if he didn't care at all. And so I'd be hard pressed to find a coach that would be unwilling to help, especially if I don't even, for like my team, I don't even give the parents the opportunity to tell me that they're struggling with money. I already know you're struggling with money. I'm struggling with money just like we're all struggling with money. Everybody struggles with money. So I take the fundraising extremely serious. That's, to me, that's at the beginning of the season. That's almost that's right up there neck and neck with getting the team ready for games as in level of importance for me.
Making sure we can afford it.
Yeah,
and that's and that's exactly it. Is the team that we're on this year. I don't want to say it's a new team, but
fees are about double from what we paid because there's no infrastructure for the organization.
Right. There's no. It's a team, and so. And the travel is a little bit more, which is fine because we knew that going into it, and it's a bump up in level too.
Higher quality of baseball,
so
higher quality competition.
So it's things you got to do, and pardon me, and so it's a little bit more, and everyone's gonna struggle. I was waiting to see what our plan was for fundraising because myself, in a way, that's why I can't afford to let my son play.
Do a hit-a-thon. Oh my God, it is so easy to do a hit-a-thon, and it's
fun.
It's fun for everybody.
You can even challenge your kids in a way. You know, you can still even coach them, but at the same time, you want to make it fun. You don't want to make it stressful and whatever.
Yeah.
But
I had a couple of kids come up to me last year, like, Coach, will you sponsor me for my hit-a-thon? No, because then I have to sponsor all 12 of you, and I don't have that much money, guys.
Give you each $1.
I know that I know that none of you can hit the ball very far, because let's face it, but.
You know, well, it's funny you say that though. I stress that we have a hit-a-thon obviously for our team every year, and I stressed big time to my parents how important this hit-a-thon. I tried telling them, like, this is by far, if there's ever a fundraiser I'm going to give you that you need to go out and take advantage of, this is the one. Every dollar goes entirely to your players' fees, and it's like you said, it's so easy. And I literally had 2 different parents, and you know what? Part of me, I get it. But at the same time, I don't. But they both came to me and said, "Well, we feel like we're just begging people for money. We're not offering them anything in return for their money." And that's kind of how some fundraisers work. You're not gonna give them anything in return.
It's more or less it's a donation.
It's not a business transaction.
Right.
I'm not offering you a good or a service.
Well, that's
I'm
what
saying,
they feel.
That's why it's important, parents. I just want to piggyback on what he said. It's important to make the kids do it.
Thank you.
Yes.
You beat me to it. When I was first approached about a hit-a-thon, I was approached by a player that was in our organization, you know,
yep.
For his 9U season. And I know them personally. They live in the same neighborhood. So it was an easy sell, if you will. But he walks in, you know, and said hi, brought him upstairs, and the dad was there and the player. And the dad made the player do all the talking. It was phenomenal. And he and the kid did a great job. And I stress it to my son. Listen, I'm like, if
people don't want to give me money,
go out and do this. They want to give
money.
You. I'm not going to talk for you. So
right.
This is, to me, like, I used it. I've been in sales since I've graduated college. And to me, learning how to sell is a positive. Mm-hmm. So that's what I try instilling into Kellen. I'm not trying to train him to be a salesman, just trying to teach him, hey,
but let's face
the
it,
importance of communication and communicating properly for people to understand what everything that you're
life is
giving
about.
them is.
There's parts of life that required you to be a salesman. When you're going to apply for a job, you have to sell yourself.
Absolutely, and that's what this is. For an example, you're selling what you're doing, why you're doing it, and if you have this much passion for the game, then you should have that much passion for turning around and trying to, I don't want to say raise funds for your thing, but try to explain to them the best way possible. I didn't understand it at first. Mm-hmm. I donated 25 cents a foot.
Oh boy. Oh boy.
Yikes.
25 cents a foot. 9U, fine, whatever. Kid hit the ball pretty far. Wasn't prepared. $50. You know? And I think it'd be like 40. It was like 45 or something like that or whatever. And the parents go, no, you don't have to pay. I said, yeah, I do. That's what she goes, no, just 25. I go, no, this is what I told him I would pay. This is what I'm paying.
Yeah.
Because if I don't, then.
I lied to a kid.
Yeah. Exactly. And so we turned around, forked it up. Yeah. But you know what? He hit it further than expected, and good job.
Well, I think
good job.
I think me personally, I'm pretty blessed that, you know, I'm family. Me and Coach Lance are family, and my side and his side of the family and the other side of the family are actually fairly close to each other from my end. Thank God.
Yes.
You know, it makes things a lot easier. But if Coach Lance were to go to my Aunt Wendy and say, "Hey, Kellen's playing baseball. Do you want to donate?" Probably not.
Right.
Well, but if Kellen goes to my Aunt Wendy and says, "Aunt Wendy, I got this great opportunity to play baseball for this team. It costs me some money to do it. So I'm doing this fundraiser.
Not even that.
Love if you would donate.
Not even that. He's gonna for me. He's gonna play you the way. Mm-hmm. This is just extra money that we don't have to pay, which is great. So, but what I want him to understand is, go out and try to set yourself a goal.
It's not comfortable.
It's not.
And life is about making yourself uncomfortable.
Absolutely.
Right.
And so me, he had to do every transaction. He had to track it. He had to write it down. He had to go collect it, because that's the whole process.
Right.
And yes, obviously we're going to drive him to wherever he needs to go. We're going to try to help plan it, because logistically we have to help with that. Obviously, he's 11 years old, but
He's also going to learn from that.
he's going to
aspect of
learn
it too.
absolutely what it takes, And so, and he got into it. He finally got into it, and I think, brought in nearly $400 from it.
It's
And that paid, so, and I will never make anybody pay the commitment fee for me. Because if I can't commit to it, I won't have someone else do it. So it's always us, we always pay the commitment fee. And then on the flip side, he basically raised the rest of his funds. And so I was like, oh, this is sweet. And then one more fundraiser, done and done.
I know
That's for I don't want to say a small organization, but a not as expensive organization.
right. My sister went to New York for dance camp a couple of years in a row when she was around Kellen's age.
Yeah.
And my mom, she can't afford that.
Right.
Went to Sam's, bought some of the fundraising candy bars
Candy
they have
bars.
at Sam's.
Yeah.
And Megan went door to door selling candy bars. Had to explain to everybody in the neighborhood
What
this
what
is
it was
what these
for,
are.
why.
And then she had to pay my mom back out of that money for the candy bars as a responsibility.
That's a great idea.
Yeah. So there's just
Because
certain
and,
things you can do.
and on the flip side, parents, keep in mind, it's the kid playing. Make them do it. Don't just take it to work and get stuff. Now, if you talk about it with some of your coworkers and they end up saying, "Hey, you know what? I'd like to give some money," because that happened to me. I wasn't even prepared. Didn't even have a list. Whatever, And Kellen didn't do it, but my boss a few years ago said, "Here's $20. Put it towards a hit-a-thon or whatever." That's it's a great thing. Love to see kids succeed. Really cool dude. But that was really thankful. But guess what? The second I got home and told Kellen about it, guess what he had to do?
You had to call him and
He had to call him and tell him thank you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because that's just, to me, that's just the right thing to do. And again, it teaches the child responsibilities
Gratitude.
and gratitude. Can I have my words back, please? We're even, all right?
Right.
But so parents, keep that in mind. Don't do it for your player, because obviously if you need to do it, you need to do it. We had a few parents on our team last year who refused to do it.
Foolish.
No. Merely because sorry, I just heard my son crying. Merely because if they can't afford to do it, they're not going to ask other people to front their money.
Well, here's
The
how
full
I
thing.
look at it.
Now, so they're going to go to family. They don't want to have to go sell it. That's fine. They have the money to do it. That's why they do that. So that's fine. I have no problem with that. Whatever. But when you have then families on the other side who don't have family around to, help kickstart, if you will, a little bit of the selling aspect, because that's where you really work it out on. With Kellen, he talked to grandparents, he talked to aunts, uncles, cousins, all that stuff.
If it's literally no problem for you to come up with that money, then there's literally no problem with you coming up for that money, and this conversation isn't for you.
Right.
Well, here's how I look at that, though. Because, so for example, I have a couple parents on my team that are either done, have already got their fees raised, or very close to having their fees raised, and have already expressed to me that, hey, once my fees are paid, I'm done fundraising. Technically, you have absolutely no reason to continue to fundraise. Why would you? My fees are paid. Mm-hmm. I look at it as, hey, you could have now help someone who's less fortunate than you by helping fundraise in their name, or help us as a team fundraise above and beyond our players' fees so we can do some cool stuff and maybe hop in extra tournaments. the other way I look at it is this too, and this is what I tell my parents is like, yeah, you can pay for it out of your pocket, but why not go out and fundraise it and then save that money, and you can go use that money to buy your kid a bat or a new glove
or for travel
or for hotels or
I mean it's
private
in the,
lessons or go on a family vacation.
it's in the thoughts of saving money. If you can save money, but again,
I get it. There are some parents,
people that don't
money's
want,
not an option.
not even money's not an option. Some people don't want to
beg.
In a way, feel that they're begging for their child to play. And again, I understand that. Because I struggled with it the first year.
It's absolutely not that way for you that think that.
Right.
I agree.
If anybody makes you feel that way, you're
Shame
asking
on
the
them.
wrong people.
Yeah, shame on them. I have had parents though they would rather do a car wash fundraiser than the hit-a-thon. You know, they would rather give a service or a good, candy bar fundraiser, the dining books fundraisers, possibly a 50, like something where they can give a value to whoever's
give
donating
something back.
To them. I get that, but at
the same time, that's like the hit-a-thon. Guess what? It costs the team to put up the hit-a-thon on.
Exactly. That's my whole point to him is like, yeah, we can do this candy bar fundraiser, but we're going to make 50 cents.
Maybe a field rental.
Exactly.
For an
You
hour.
have your own field.
And if you have your own field, it doesn't
exactly.
cost anything.
So
then it costs a little bit of time. And then you turn around, and next thing you know, the player has raised $300.
You don't even have to have a hit-a-thon day.
No.
You can do it after your practice.
Yep.
You can do it randomly, kid by kid. When the kid has time, you take a ruler out and you measure out at 200 feet. They're not going to hit much farther than that. And I mean,
guess.
Literally. Yeah, guess. For God's sakes, guess. You know how long the bases are. How far is it past the base?
Step it out.
Yeah.
It doesn't even matter.
I mean, God. Anyway.
Nobody's gonna be like, I need to see proof that he hit that, 180 feet.
And you always round up to the closest kind of thing. Anyway. But regardless,
right? Nobody should be making you feel like you're asking for a handout, and it's not that at all. I don't feel. I feel like it's preparing the kid for something. My mom actually she came over to my house and she brought me this package of Krispy Kreme donuts, and she said, I bought these from a kid who asked me to, for his travel baseball team. And so I was like, absolutely, I'll, help you. Obviously, because of what I do, she feels strongly in that, obviously. And I said, I don't want those, but thank you for doing that for that kid.
You're lying. You ate all of them, didn't you?
As if.
It's a different conversation. So, yeah, I think we get...
about crane looking ass.
We kind of hit the nail on the head with that conversation there. I do want to, before we segue into something else real quick, I just want to piggyback off that real quick. It's a little bit of a different direction, but I just kind of want to gauge your guys' thoughts on this. And I had this brought up to me by a gal that I was speaking with at one point in time, and I've also had it brought up to me at other points in time. And I just want to see your guys' thoughts on... So... We talked about we don't get paid as coaches. Well, there are some travel ball coaches that do get paid.
Yes.
Those do exist. And usually those are the coaches that don't have a kid on the team. They're an independent. They either are some type of private hitting instructors. Sometimes they're doing this. Sometimes it's just somebody that's, involved with a college or, like sometimes I've heard of like college players coaching travel ball teams. And getting paid to do so as a way to, and you'll have the parents that'll say, oh, we like that because we know that we have a coach that cares and a coach that knows a lot about the game or is qualified. We know he's qualified.
I mean, we're over here just shaking.
Yeah, I'm just bringing this up to you because, I said, I had this lady literally tell it to me like, we had paid coaches, and that's basically tried to sell me on the idea of that's the way to go. And she literally knew she was talking to an unpaid coach who was a dad, and she just kind of tried to sell it to me as, no, we don't have dads as coaches on our team. We don't. That's like basically trying to like downtrot on dads as coaches.
To where right? So dads. So what she's saying is,
dads are not as good.
We have a
as-
paid coach, and he's better than
basically is
than,
kind of the way I took it. I
And-
mean, she didn't say that obviously to my face, but that's kind
Right.
of what she was implying, and I read between the lines. And if I was reading between the lines, that's what I took out of it. Was you're basically telling me that you think that these independent paid coaches are better than volunteer dad coaches because dad coaches don't have any way of verifying their
baseball knowledge.
or whatever. They don't have any accolades to hang on the wall and brag about.
Yeah, your eyes okay? I just saw it. I
But
want to make sure you didn't pull anything.
Yeah,
I'm obviously being facetious when
I
I'm
get
saying
you,
this,
yes.
but I'm just bringing out a contrarian point to kind of get you guys
No,
to...
thank you.
Yeah.
And
this is what we're doing here. Actually, this is what this whole point of this podcast.
And
is.
so, let me tell the parents exactly my exact thoughts on this.
Shut up.
Parents, I know personally a player, a very good player, that was coached 2 years in a row by paid coaches. That was how the organization did things when I first started coaching. And the paid coach was a college baseball player who was never at practice, didn't come to games, couldn't be there, wasn't there, didn't coach, didn't know how to coach necessarily. So either that's, I mean, obviously that's the wrong vetting by the organization, first off. Second off, was that kid better off that year than a dad coaching
That's what he had, was a dad coaching because the coach wasn't there.
that cared?
Dad's got to be there anyway.
Exactly. And if a dad's willing to be there and put in the time, guess what? He's probably going to care a little bit more
Well, and
Yeah, and
than if he's not getting paid.
check this shit out. Like, if you don't like the way your dad coaches, don't play for that dad coach. This is coming from a non-dad coach.
But on the flip side, also,
If
I may not have played college baseball. I may not have played professional
I don't have any
baseball.
skins
I may
to hang
not
on the
be.
wall.
I may not be a private baseball instructor, but I can tell you right now that I am very confident in my ability to coach at a much higher level than most of the paid coaches around here, for that matter.
I will coach circles around a college baseball player.
well, that's just it. You know, just
Yes.
because
Yes.
just because they play
Please-
baseball at a
please.
high level.
Please let me coach against a college baseball player.
Right.
Please, let me coach youth baseball against a college baseball player.
Right. They're young. They have their life perspective.
They have no idea how to relate to kids.
Well, that's just it. And that's my
Or they relate to them too much.
my biggest argument is to me, some of the best coaches, do they have to have a general knowledge of the game? Yes. Do they have to be complete experts at the game? Not necessarily. They need to know the most important aspects of the game, but the biggest thing is how much do they care? How much effort do they give? How much can they relate with the kids? How good are they with the kids in general?
Yeah.
Like that's me.
What do
to a
they
T.
require from your children?
Right. If that coach, like for example, if that coach isn't there, and you can't require a kid to then be at every practice.
Well, and even not even that
That-
so
I mean,
much,
that's
but
just enough.
absolutely. That's not what I was talking about.
I
but
get you.
Absolutely. I mean, what is he requiring effort-wise?
Right.
That's how you know what a coach is.
Right.
If a coach is not requiring requisite effort from your kids, he's not a good coach. Not that he has to require too much, because too much is also a bad thing. But I don't think there's any doubt for parents that are watching a practice or watching a game that they know what the hell, that they know that we know what the hell we're doing.
Right.
You know,
They may question it.
absolutely.
And
We'll
please
get into
do.
that later. But
Please do, because we'll be able to tell you why we're doing certain things.
I have a reason. I don't ever do anything because I feel like it.
Right.
I have a
Sometimes
reason for
it is. Sometimes, but there's a reason.
There's a
behind it
reason
always.
behind doing what
Right.
There's
There's a reason why you feel like
Yeah.
exactly.
There's a reason why you feel like doing it.
Even if the reason is seemed like a good idea at the time. There was a reason it seemed like a good idea.
Well, and that segues into our next
and thank you.
bingo.
Because I was just going to say that because, we had planned on talking a little bit, but at the end of the podcast, but I think we've segued perfectly into it.
Absolutely.
About some of the issues that went down, why people are grilling or up Joe Madden's ass.
Yeah. There's a lot of people that are calling for Joe Madden to be fired. And
I actually read an article that said they should fire Joe Madden and hire Joe Girardi. I just wanted to throw my phone on the ground and break it.
Joe Girardi did absolutely nothing for the New York Yankees.
You're talking polar opposite coaches. You're going from one of the most innovative coaches to the most vanilla coach.
I don't even think that would be a bad idea. I don't think there's a downgrade between Joe Girardi and Joe Madden. I don't think that people understand. Even people writing articles don't really.
There's
get
maybe
it.
not a downgrade in coaching expertise. I think there's a downgrade. I think, and I know I'm sorry, I'm totally tailing off here, but I think Madden really knows how to relate to his players and get all the.
Too much might be made out of that.
Yeah, you know what, and you're right, and even me saying that now, I'm actually looking back and thinking about the game, and I'm sitting here looking like that clubhouse kind of seemed a little divided there at the end.
I don't think it seemed divided. I think Joe. I think there is.
Lester seemed like something was up with Lester.
Lester was pissed that he got removed from the game.
But he was pissed before that, though.
No,
did you see him? He was like in that trance, like sitting there. Like,
no, he was in the.
He had no one sitting next to him.
John
Lester was locked freaking in. Oh my gosh, locked in.
He was locked in.
So let's talk about this. Okay, I'm heated. Obviously, I was pissed that they pulled Lester after what he got out of in the sixth inning.
Well, here's the thing. I think there's different ways, there's different philosophies of thinking about it, because we can even take that conversation all the way back to 2016 in Game 7 of the World Series.
Yep.
When Joe took Kyle Hendricks out, and people were killing him for that, and I actually agreed with it. I just didn't agree with the way that it was done, because in that situation, Kyle was flat out dealing, but he was about to face Jason Kipnis in the middle of that lineup for the third time in the ballgame.
Now, and so there are stats that show that when you face a lineup for the third time, the batting average from the first time, even to the second time, goes up about 75 points. Mm-hmm. From the first time to the third time, goes up over 100 points. Mm-hmm. So, yes. Do I agree with the move? Yes. Do I agree that the timing was off? Completely.
Well, he talked for the entire 24 hours leading up to that game. I'm not going to bring Johnny into a situation where it's not a clean inning,
a dirty situation where there's a base runners on or whatever.
The base runner that was on, you can argue that he probably shouldn't have been on. He should have been rung up.
Yes,
on two separate occasions.
We won't.
It didn't happen.
Whatever.
And it's Carlos Santana. He's not running, and that's what I think. What Joe thought. Carlos Santana's not going anywhere, and if he does, Rossi will take care of him. But
Rossi wasn't catching at that point.
Yes, he was.
He was catching Hendricks?
No, he was catching John Lester.
That's when
Lester comes in. And that's another thing that I didn't agree with, is if you're going to bring Johnny in at all, Rossi needs to be starting that game so you don't have to burn Willie after 5 innings.
Right. 4 innings.
Yeah. Okay. And that's all ancillary stuff but
we know way too much about this game.
So
the specific game, not the baseball game, this specific game.
Right.
But continue.
So I believe that a guy like Travis Wood should have been ready to come into that ball game in that spot to try and get that's why you have a lefty 1-out guy.
Yes.
That's the situation he comes in for.
Yes.
Okay. Instead, you throw John Lester into a dirty inning. All of a sudden, it ends up a filthy inning, and Johnny can't get anybody out because he's in the situation of a dirty inning, and there's a lot going on. And he's not comfortable. He's not used to pitching in that spot. You bring in a reliever, you get him out of that inning, and then Johnny can start right away.
Yep.
Fresh the next inning. So yeah, I'm disagreeing.
Joe did learn his lesson from that. He did deploy a different strategy in this last wild card game, where he didn't bring Hamels in a dirty inning when he had the opportunity to.
Well, it was a different situation.
It was, but you get where I'm saying.
Yeah, well, the reason for not wanting to bring Johnny into a dirty inning was
base runners.
The base runner thing.
Yeah, that's true.
So, and
But
that was the whole purpose of it. But
similar concept, though. I mean, he easily could have brought Hamels in earlier than he did in that game.
yeah,
In the middle of an inning with base runners on, and he decided not
But
to.
and the whole double switching thing, I get it.
He almost gets too clever for his own good.
I think
here's the thing.
I think some of the moves that he made, some of the moves I feel like he made in the game, could have been done differently.
in this most recent game,
And this, in the wild card game.
in the wild card game in 2018. Okay, in 2016, Joe got out overmanaged by Dave Roberts in the NLCS, or the
Yes.
Dodgers. The Dodgers were the better team. I felt,
Yeah, I completely 100% agree with you.
and Dave Roberts tried to outthink Joe Madden,
Yep.
and it ended up costing him.
And it costed it.
Joe Madden got into that with, in my opinion, the best manager in baseball is Terry Francona.
And you know what Terry Francona says about the game? About managing the game? He said, "My job's not hard."
Yeah, he's the best. I think. For
He
my
literally
money,
says, "My job is not difficult. I assign a pitcher to pitch that day, and they pitch."
That's my whole argument against
But that's American League compared to National League. I get it. You don't have to worry about subbing in.
That's the only argument I have
All
against the
throughout that
bullpen
stuff.
games.
But
Is that not just a manager's nightmare? A bullpen game? Like, don't get me wrong, I get it. It's a great concept, and it does have its merit. But if I'm a manager, a bullpen game scares the living nightmares out of me. I mean, every inning is a nail-biting decision.
the control over the game is very, very hindered at that point. I feel just look, and obviously I have no expertise or experience in that type of a situation, but just looking at it from afar, like I do, understanding the game
looking
the
at it
way
from
I do.
youth baseball,
Yeah. Well,
when you have your starting pitcher, and then you have to start finding someone to come in and replace that you feel like a little out of control of that game.
yeah.
So I can agree. I can completely agree with you in saying that.
I'm sure that the plan that Joe Madden went into in 2018 wild card, what ended up happening was not the plan, and that's why
Without a doubt.
people are trying to kill him so hard right now for leaving Terrence Gorin to hit twice in a winter go, and
That's dumb. Those people that are okay. So to talk about that a little bit, I feel like you could have got Terrence Gore in the game sooner.
no, his usage of Terrence Gore was absolutely brilliant.
It
and
was
perfect.
perfect at that time. 6th inning, Ian Happ. Ian Happ got in, burned it. He was used for one at bat and then sat and then was benched. Was done.
Kyle Schwarber the same way.
Kyle Schwarber the same way. One at bat, then done. If you're going to do that, why wouldn't you use Terrence Gore in that situation? Base runner on, no outs, and the top of your lineup up.
Fair enough.
That is my own. That is one of. I don't have a whole lot of critique about the way the game is managed.
I was just gonna say,
I don't think that really it could have been managed much differently. That is my first thing. If that's what's going to happen, if you are going to let Ian Happ bat and then have him sit on first base and then not go back into the field, why would you not put Terrence Gore to pinch run after Ian Happ gets on base?
Because you're burning two players right there.
He burned, but
you're burning your bench up right away, and that goes along with why he threw Terrence Gore out in left field and put Daniel Murphy on the moon over at first base. He was not comfortable. I thought Zoe should have went over to first base. I've seen Zoe play first base. Yeah. He would have been much more comfortable over there. However, Terrence Gore out in left field, when he came into pinch run for Anthony Rizzo,
but I think
the deployment of it at that point was perfect.
It was. You had to do it.
He had to stay in the game. What could he have done? He could have brought in Victor Caratini and let Victor Caratini play first base. Then Victor Caratini can't come up in the 11th inning, and if that ball gets through, we're not having this conversation right now. Right. That ball he hit to first base was a freaking rocket.
Yeah.
He was not even available for that if he comes in right away to play first base. So
again,
the plan ends up just completely backfiring because
But
you never want to take Anthony Rizzo out of that game. But if you don't,
but he had
the
to.
game's over at 9.
He had to.
Yeah.
So the deployment at that point in time was perfectly done. You get Anthony Rizzo on base. You have Terrence Gore steal.
Guarantee you that wasn't the plan.
Not going into the game, no. But again, the way the game played out, that's the way that it was perfectly done. But
Right.
so right now we are on Monday morning quarterbacking.
Yes.
And I get that. But if I'm looking at it, I would still say I would have pinched run Terrence Gore in the 6th inning for Ian Happ. I don't care if I'm burning 2 players or not. Put Terrence Gore then in the outfield. If that's what you ended up doing anyway, and then when he comes up to bat, pinch hit somebody. Do your double swap with him and the pitcher and move that around a little bit. That's going to happen again anyway. And
Either
it did
way,
happen.
though, for the way the game played out, I mean, people are crushing Madden for what he did, and the way the game played out, I really struggled to see where he made just a gigantic gaffe, where it was just like,
If Jason Hayward was one of the 3 balls going for his knee, hit him, we're not having
oh
this
my
conversation
gosh,
either.
yeah, exactly. There's so many little things.
Right.
But
there's little things. As a batter, you don't think about that
Right.
necessarily.
And you're not.
You're up there to
you're not
hit.
trained to.
But so then my biggest gripe, and you kind of heard me get a little angsty about taking John Lester out of the game. Seeing the way that he reacted after getting out of that inning. He had runners on 2nd and 3rd, 1 out, got out of the inning. Seeing the way he reacted and how locked in he was, I almost feel like he shouldn't have taken him out. I know he was coming up to bat. I don't want to say shouldn't have taken him out. You don't tell him you're taking him out until the runner, say the batter in front of him, either gets on base or doesn't.
yeah,
That's the way that I feel. If he doesn't get on base, if the runner doesn't get on base in front of him,
you let Johnny hit.
you let John hit. If he does, then that's when you pinch hit.
Johnny's not a terrible
Lester
hitter.
would understand that one.
It's not a terrible hitter either.
But you go to him between innings and you say, great game pitched.
Johnny's a professional. He's going to want the baseball.
He wants the baseball. My biggest thing, when I saw him walk down into the locker room, his head was down.
Yeah, I didn't like that body language from him.
It's not him that I didn't like. I feel like you removed a lot of emotion from that dugout, a lot of excited emotion from that dugout. A lot of people were pumped. He was pumped. You walk into the dugout, high fives, people's jumping up and down after you get that out. When you remove that pitcher, that's fucking cruising. Pardon my language. That's just cruising through the game. Unhittable. 9 strikeouts. 9 freaking strikeouts.
Right. Yeah.
The guy is painting the black.
Yeah, and here's how I look at that.
I've never
situation.
seen John Lester paint the corners the way he painted those corners in that game.
The way I look at the situation, just from that standpoint, is I'm throwing my best. You're throwing your best. I like my chances.
Mm-hmm.
Also, you have a guy in Kyle Freeland who's pitching on 3 days rest for the first time in his career. Why is he not at 75 pitches in the 3rd freaking inning?
Make him.
I'm taking. I don't care. I'm taking until I get a strike, and I'm letting him burn his freaking arm out, and I'm going to take my chances with your bullpen. Mm-hmm. I'm going to get his ass out of that game.
Although their bullpen's pretty good.
Okay. Fine. But he's on 3 days rest.
He's on 3 days rest. And he's what, a rookie?
Yeah. I'm not. It's his first time ever pitching on short rest. Mm-hmm. Okay. The more spins you get at that wheel, the more chances you have to make a mistake. Mm-hmm. You want to hit that mistake. And the Cubs were amped up. They were jacked. They were ready to go. And they were swinging at crap.
Yep. They absolutely were. They were not forcing.
They weren't accepting.
They weren't accepting walks. They weren't accepting.
Speaking of,
they weren't accepting.
There's the one gaffe.
Strikes.
If there was one gaffe that I can really say in that game that really bothered me is how on earth do you let Terrence Gore swing that bat?
Well,
would you ever tell a batter
you don't
not to swing?
You don't coach that out of him. However,
God, I don't know.
The
I
guy's
feel
got
like that-
one hit in his entire career.
I was just
And
gonna say,
16 at-bats.
It just felt like an obvious take situation. You just roll the dice. I'd rather have a walk than a strikeout there. You know, or,
Or a strikeout than a swinging strikeout.
You can claim small sample size. There's a reason
There's a
there's
reason.
a small sample
I
size.
get that. I'm not claiming small sample size. I was just
You
stating
did.
I was stating facts. No, he has one hit in 16 at bats, and the two at bats that the few at bats that I saw him take throughout the year look like a 9-year-old up there at the plate.
Yeah,
I mean,
he's got no business being
his
up
first
there.
strikeout, like he had 2 at bats. He struck out both times. The first strikeout, literally, you could just see the pitcher. He knew in his head, all I have to do is just throw right down the middle, and there's nothing he's going to be able to do.
Kind of laughing about it almost. but
Yes,
not
like just
visibly.
a 1, 2, 3, like
And-
sit down.
And on the
Just-
flip side, if I'm that fast, and mind you, I wasn't maybe Terrence Gore fast in high school, but I was fast enough in high school that I could throw a bunt down the third baseline and get on base just fine.
He tried. That's how he got into that count. Is the pitches weren't buntable pitches. That's how he got into that 3-2 count. But you get in that.
Don't give me that bullshit. Okay,
I
a high
saw
pitch.
Him, I saw
a
him
high,
square to a bunt down at your ankles. You're not going to be able. That's why he got 3 balls thrown at him because he was trying to bunt.
That's fine. But if you're trying to put the ball between the pitcher and first base, if you will, you try to put it to the second baseman to bunt for a hit with where the first baseman was playing. If you're trying to do that and you have an outside pitch that is perfect to do that with, and you can't throw that down properly, you missed your chance, bro.
Yeah. Okay. However, Terrence Gore stole second base.
To make that happen,
Everybody knew
He was
that
stealing.
he was going to steal.
and they had no chance to get him. No chance.
They didn't even try.
They didn't even throw. I know. I'm not. Again, it's not.
So
It's
all I'm
it's
saying.
not.
All
the-
I'm saying is,
It's not.
it doesn't matter where that guy puts a bunt down. Okay, but he's got to
Right.
get it down.
He's gotta get it down.
If you're on a major league roster in the playoffs,
and you're
you
called the
have
bunt.
to be able to put a ball in play on a bunt.
Johnny Lester could have bunted the ball better than that.
And Johnny Lester's a very good bunter, though.
Johnny Lester's a very good hitter
Right.
for a pitcher. For a pitcher.
I just want to just kind of wrap this up. Go ahead if you got something. You were getting ready to say something good.
Just when you said that, I got into a conversation. I'm not going to say who it was with, and we're talking about the Rizzo play. I was like, Rizzo's not scoring on that
No, not at all. Not one bit.
because he's not getting to second base
Right.
on the steal like Terrence Gore did.
If you want Rizzo to steal during that, he's getting thrown out by 16 feet.
Yeah. Well, Rizzo's really fast for a big guy. I'm gonna go run into traffic. I'm not.
How do you
not.
how do you reply to that one?
Have you ever just like had to take a step and just shake off how dumb a statement is?
Yes, for a big guy, he may be
Absolutely,
fast.
he's above average speed for yeah, he's faster than Edwin Encarnacion.
Yes.
Congratulations,
Way to go.
He's not within the same strata as Terrence Gore. He's not going to steal second base
No.
unless it's a pass ball
Right.
in a win or go home playoff game. And on that particular play, I don't think they send him from second. If he's on, I don't think they send him home on a ball.
Why do you think
on a ball hit
it's-
that hard to
I
Charlie
think-
Blackmon?
I think the ball was hit and the gap enough. There was enough time for him.
Why
Probably
do you
because Javi
think-
ended up at second, but
Yes. Javi had to dive in. He had to get there.
so that's effort play,
Right.
That's for as much as I don't want kids to watch Javier Baez play baseball.
Much as effort.
He has the most effort I've seen out of almost anybody since Pete Rose.
Him and Contreras.
Yeah, Willie.
Don't get. I'm not talking about his bat flip walks. I'm not talking about that.
That is the fact that the announcers made so much of that in the broadcast that I watched on ESPN2, not on the regular broadcast.
The regular
It was-
broadcast, they
it was
talked about it a
brought
little
up
bit.
a bunch. Like every time he came up, I'm like, that's a guy playing with some. That's some guy playing with
passion.
some red ass.
Oh, passion, red ice, everything. I don't care. Flip
care
the bat. You run down to first base. You're trying to get your team up to hit the ball. Because guess what? They had 6 hits.
It's not Yasiel Puig bat flipping a fly out to left. He's
right.
Let's go
Yes.
type of deal.
He's stoked. He just got on base.
It's not a look at me. It's a, hey, we got something going. Let's get to it.
Let's get this going. Yeah. I completely agree.
But to kind of just what I was getting ready to say is that,
You mean we interrupted you?
No,
I did.
no,
Well, he
no.
politely let it me.
No, what I was getting ready to say was that, everybody is crushing Joe Madden right now, and there are a lot of people saying that he needs to lose his job, and I think they're completely insane. For one thing, is it Joe Madden's fault that the Cubs just forgot how to hit 2 games in a row?
3 of the last 4, they scored 1 run.
Okay, is it Joe Madden's fault that he was in the toughest division in all of baseball? I mean, you put the Cubs in any other division, and they run away with the division.
Other than the AL.
Well,
East.
not in the American League, but in National League. You put them in the West or the East instead of the Central.
They
run
win
away with
they win it by 10 games.
Exactly.
Yes.
Okay, is that Joe Madden's fault? Not really.
Well,
not necessarily.
With the crap that they went through this season, the fact that they were that is the worst 95 win baseball team.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's
the
not a good
injuries
baseball
that we
team.
had.
That's not a good baseball
Not
team.
even
in my
injuries.
opinion.
They weren't. My issue is they weren't consistent.
You didn't see the.
But I mean, just think about
God,
it.
forgive me for saying this. The fire in their bellies.
Is
that
it
we
is
saw
it
in
Joe Madden's
2016.
fault
Right.
that Tyler Chatwood just decided to forget how to pitch? Is it Joe Madden's fault that Yu Darvish was just a complete sack of broken bones?
Who was I listening? I was listening
mean,
to the score.
You could season could have went so differently.
Yeah, you're right. I was listening to the score, and sorry, I just completely
No, you're
segued.
fine,
I
but you
just
get my
completely
point, though.
cut.
My
you know,
point
cut.
is-
Yeah, your point is spot on.
Yeah.
There was, I can't remember who it was that said that it was a beat writer for up in Chicago. I can't remember who it was, but he essentially said that Joe Madden should be in the running, if not first, maybe second for manager of the year for everything that he had to deal with throughout the year. You lose KB for how many games?
Yeah.
Right.
You lose not one pitcher, 2 pitchers,
Starting pitchers.
2 starting pitchers. Your closer that you had going into mind, you lost because of an injury, maybe mismanaged. Fine. You
got there.
That's the one thing you can probably chalk up to Joe mismanaging, is Brandon Morrow.
Is he? Is he a perfect manager? No, he's not the greatest in-game manager all the time. Sometimes he does a really good job. Like I thought he actually did a really good job in Wild Card. But his pre-game management is second to none. The way he tinkers with the roster, and
But
That's
is
what
that
he's getting killed for right now, though. Is you got big league ball players that have won MVP awards or been in the running for MVP awards that are showing up to the ballpark not knowing where the hell they're playing or where they're hitting in the batting order. That's kind of what he's getting killed for right now.
and I can almost agree with that,
Yeah.
because if I'm baseball is
by the time playoffs roll around,
baseball is a
It's a habitual thing. It's a
habitual
slog.
thing. It is, and I understand moving some people around
in the
and
regular season,
getting people rest in the regular season.
keeps it fresh.
Too much is too much.
Too much is too much. When you have 112 different lineups throughout the year, I don't know if that's the exact number or not, but I'm sure it's pretty damn close. If you have 112 different lineups throughout the year, something is awry. I feel like
Come September, you need to rely on a couple of those and stick to them.
It's a bit of a Joe Madden symptom though, is trying to overmanage everything.
Right.
Yeah, thinking that he can be the one to change the game.
And that's kind of something I didn't really mean to get into, but Joe Madden is notorious for overmanaging.
Mm-hmm.
And as youth coaches, how do we do in that aspect? There's a fine line between overmanaging and undermanaging, overcoaching and undercoaching.
Right.
You know, I'm kind of in that netherworld right now where I'm on a new coaching staff and I don't quite have the freedom as far as I feel to correct some things because I don't know the kids well enough, and I don't know
kids well enough,
and I
the
don't know
coach well enough. Exactly. When you and I were coaching, we knew each other, that we were teaching the same thing and seeing the same stuff and could talk to one another about it and essentially agree, or even if we did agree,
come to an understanding
as to why. If one of us was seeing one thing and the other one was seeing the other thing, and they could correlate. I think we've talked about this before, but new coaching staff. I feel like I'm out in left field a little bit.
Yeah.
I may not be holding the bowling ball yet, but I'm out in left field a little bit. I feel like
there's a little bit of a direction issue, I feel, and it's not anybody's fault. It's just trying to feel around in the dark with sunglasses
Find your
on
place
until I find out where I'm supposed to be.
And you have a foothold. Because you've been doing the pitching
right
with everybody, so that's great. I am feeding balls into a machine.
Yeah.
And I feel like my time can be better utilized. My knowledge can be better utilized doing other things. I really feel like I could be the better fielding coach.
Right.
He does the hitting. I'll do the fielding. You do the pitching.
That's a winning combination right there.
Yeah, I feel like that would be the best beneficial. Now, I will obviously need help at first base. And he has certain plays and stuff that he wants to run. It's all right. Thank you. That was your throat talking.
It's the monster coming back.
We sorry, I don't know. I found that funny, but that's what I feel like. Obviously, he has certain plays he wants to run in the field, and
which is something I'm excited about.
Absolutely, I can't wait to actually get them in play, and I want my playbook. And
yeah, I know, right?
But we're just not seeing that.
Yeah,
it's off season. Football's still going pretty hot and heavy. Should be done after this month or this week. But
I don't think he really wants to get into that right now with 6 kids.
I agree. I don't want to coach it now and then coach it later.
Yeah,
I get it. So then off season, that's when you implement it, so they have time to understand it, learn it. That's what you can work on you can work on it indoors.
Yeah,
you move the nets back and you set up first, second, and third. There's your situations, because how often are the outfielders? What are they doing? Whether playing in or back.
Yeah.
Or maybe shifting one way or the other depending on the hitter, but that's all almost in-game management, because it's like we have a scouting report for every team.
Right. And at a certain point, we're almost to the age where I feel like we can get a little bit into doing classroom work. I'm so ready to do classroom work.
Yeah.
Just more or less just talking about the game and the ins and outs of the game, and and what are we thinking? What's the approach here in this spot? What am I trying to do with the baseball? The answer, hit it hard somewhere, is not gonna fly. What am I trying to do with the baseball? Am I trying to hit it gap to gap? Am I trying to stuff like that is stuff that I really want to get into. Where's balls hit here? Where are we going with it?
Yep.
Where are you going? The ball's hit into left center field. Where's right fielder going?
Right.
Stuff like that. There's somewhere to be.
Always. Everybody has a spot to go when the ball's in play.
Yep.
And at some point, there may be 2 different spots.
Yeah.
The ball may be hit here and then be thrown here. Where should he be going after that ball's thrown there?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
To bring this conversation back to Joe, what I was thinking.
Oh man, I thought we had a perfect segue into the roles, but you're gonna reel it back over there. No, I'm kidding. Go ahead.
Well, what I'm thinking is, as a youth coach, it's similar to parents might blast you for a decision you make as a youth coach. Like, for example, I remember one game I sent a kid home from third base, and he got thrown out by like a good couple steps, and it was just one of those. Yeah, I'm sure there's parents that were like, "Why'd you send him? And it's like, well, it's a tight game. If we can squeeze a run in here, we got to squeeze a run in here. But
if it takes a perfect throw to get my player out, I'm sending him 100 out of 100 times.
You just beat me to it.
I know I did. I did.
If it's gonna take a good throw, catch, relay, good throw, catch, tag, I'm taking my chances at 8, 9,
8, 9, 10,
Bingo.
11.
Yeah.
You know what? Maybe up into 12 even for that matter.
My whole point, though, is it's so easy to crush a coach.
Monday morning quarterback.
Right, and the reality is, if we had the chance to pick Joe's brain,
Yeah.
I bet we'd get a lot of really interesting and unique.
I love listening to Joe Man talk about
Oh my
baseball.
gosh,
Every
dude.
single time. I will listen to him
but-
all the time.
Segue
I would
to-
love to pick his brain about the game. I know hindsight's always 20/20, and there would be things that he may think he should have done
I'm sure-
differently right
I'm
now.
sh-
I'm sure he would say that, but the game happened the way it happened because it happened that way. I know that duh, but do you get what I'm saying?
Well, every pitch, especially in a game like that,
Yep.
every pitch is magnified, and every pitch changes the complexion of the game at least a little bit.
Yes.
You know, every pitch, whether the ball's put in play or not. You know, the game, your plan can literally change pitch by pitch. And the plan that you came into thinking, we got this, that plan absolutely gets blown up. I mean, people say, you want to hear God laugh, tell him your plan.
Yeah.
You want to hear the baseball gods laugh, tell them what you're going to tell them your plan.
Yeah.
Because that's not
I think it's going to be
happening.
foobar. I think it's going to be foobar before the first inning starts.
That's not happening. So,
Oh, I just had something come to mind and I completely lost it. Oh, you brought up Jason Hayward. And if he takes one of those 3 inside sliders off the shin,
yeah,
the run scores.
Yeah.
Because he came in with bases loaded.
right.
And to me, as a major league ball player, I know you want to hit, you want to be the whatever, but if you take that one pitch and you get that run in and you're up 2-1, aren't you still the hero?
Hero.
Again for Jason Hayward.
Yeah. You know, I'm not advocating leaning into a ball, but if a ball's gonna hit you, let the ball hit you. You know, and
Especially in that kind of a ball game.
and well,
You know you're struggling hitting. You have bases loaded. The pitcher can't find the zone.
don't strike out.
Yes.
If that's the case, don't strike out if that's the case. But you know, it's
He struck him out. I hated that.
Oh, man.
God, I just wanted to reach through my TV.
it was an awful swing. It was an awful pitch. It was bad.
I've never, and so I'm sorry to
No,
totally.
I disagree. It was a great pitch.
Good pitch.
It was a
Yeah.
great pitch because the pitch before he got him on a strike 2 on a slider that came back over the plate.
Yeah. Well, my favorite thing in the world, and you know this, is pitch selection.
Yeah, I know.
So we're
Let's
not
not
going to
get
get into
we're
that
not,
right
that,
now.
That's a deep rabbit hole. but the way
We're here
that
for 3 hours.
the way that at bat happened, those last 2 pitches were executed freaking perfectly.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And
I
so
mean,
yes, it was a garbage swing. It was a bad pitch to swing at. But if you're facing
if you get motion going to your glove side and then you come back with motion going to your arm side, that's the type of swing you're going to get.
yeah,
But that's not a strike.
no,
It's not a strike. And I mean,
either way. But if he, I don't know why I brought that up, but I was just thinking
Yeah.
about it, and I just felt like I needed to.
I thought the balls and strikes in that game were pretty wretched. Anyway.
Wretched, maybe consistent,
Consistent, absolutely.
absolutely.
I didn't agree with him, but it was consistent.
It was
And
consistent.
that's what I've always said. And I think it's an important distinction to make, where you can disagree with a call, and you can disagree that that's not a strike, that is a strike, whatever. I remember I was sitting next to one of your parents one time, just watching one of their games, and they were kind of chirping a little bit at the umpire, and one of them looked at me and goes, "What do you think?" I go, "If that pitch is a strike, then it's a strike. But the next time it's thrown, it's a strike."
Mm-hmm.
Okay? I'm okay with that pitch being called a strike if it's a strike.
Right.
But the next time that there's a pitch there,
It better be a
it's not
strike.
a ball.
Right.
Let me understand where the strike zone is. Once I figure out where the strike zone is, then we're good. But if the strike zone's changing, there's nothing I can do with that. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And I think as coaches, that's something that we have to understand is I don't have to agree with the call. That's the call that's made.
Right.
But the next time that call is made, it better be the same call.
Right. That was in our championship game for state. That was the issue that a lot of that us 4 coaches had with the umpire, is that the balls and strikes were completely inconsistent.
Yeah.
from one side to the other. Bad.
For a state championship game.
And
bad.
And at that point, like, I don't very often chirp about balls and strikes. But at that point, I think it was the second.
I think that's the only time I've ever heard you say something like that. Maybe the second or third, but it's very rare.
It happened twice this year. One time the umpire came down at me and I said, I'm simply asking you. I'm allowed that, aren't I? I'm not arguing. I'm asking. Yeah. And that backed him down a little bit. But this one, I was hot.
Yeah.
I was hot. And I was down the third baseline. And
I agreed with you 100%.
And I don't say I came unglued. I wasn't completely disrespectful, but
you weren't completely respectful.
But I wasn't. I wasn't respectful.
No,
I was not completely disrespectful, but I was not respectful because literally, like, all I said to basically what I said to him was, "You are not allowing my hitters a chance to hit the ball because of the pitches that were being called strikes."
Mm-hmm. True,
and it was true.
And what happened after that? All of a sudden, it was the same strike zone for both teams.
Right.
And I don't want to get into that right now.
No.
You know,
anyway, but
speaking of that game, for those of you that don't know, we talk about this a lot because I kind of feel like, A, it was the last game we've coached. B,
right.
It was kind of that defining moment in the coaching career that you kind of think about. You're going to go back to a bunch where we were short 3 kids. We were carried 11. We had 3 that were missing, so we were down to 8. We got into a state championship game with 8 kids. Ended up losing by 2 runs?
Yeah.
Should have won that game.
Could have won that game quite easily.
Would have won that game probably going away. We had to take it out, and then
if we had 9.
If we had 9, yeah.
Maybe. I don't know. I think the team they came together
mm-hmm.
more than we've ever seen them at that point in time because they knew they had to be a team.
And again, I'm just trying to bring this right back to the conversation we've been having. We had very little control over that game.
Mm-hmm.
When we were just trying to do our best to keep everything together. We threw a pitcher we were not comfortable with, and it came up aces.
Yeah.
It worked out for us.
Yep.
The decision that Joe Madden made didn't work out.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean they were the wrong decisions, and that's what I want people to understand.
Yes.
It's just because a decision didn't work doesn't mean it was wrong. Mm-hmm. It just means it didn't work.
And a coach can tell you why the decision was made. Most good coaches can tell you why a decision was made to go with whatever pitcher they're going with whatever it is.
Mm-hmm.
You know, most of the time, I'm going to be honest with you, most of the time it's gut.
Yeah.
It's a feel for the game.
Yeah.
And if you're feeling the game the right way and you make the right decision.
It's a feel for your players. You
right.
have to know your kids.
Yeah.
And that's where I'm struggling right now is I don't know the kids
You don't know the kids that well. You know, and that's where I think where he brought up Joe Madden being a very good player manager, if you will.
Mm-hmm. Joe's never been revered for his in-game coaching.
Right.
But he's been outmanaged by most managers that he's managed against.
Probably. So, one of the things that he brought up was the managing the players, and that's what we were talking about. Is that's one thing I do feel actually is beneficial to the game, to their game, is knowing the players and what they need and how they need. Do I think that he sometimes overmanages that? Yes.
I think everybody does to a degree. I think what happens is Joe tries to outmanage the manager he's managing against. You know,
yes.
It's not a. I think that Francona got into his head in the World Series, and he, by the virtue of having the better players, won that series.
Yes, he almost blew that. He really did.
Several times.
Oh, several times. He tried to.
Let's not even get started on his Aroldis Chapman usage. I was not a fan, but it worked. So at the end of the day, what can we say, right?
Yeah.
So.
And again, just because the decision worked out doesn't mean it was the right one.
Exactly. Now, you were right, and now that I kind of am kicking myself, we did have a good segue into the rules discussion we were going, and I just wanted to cap it, and it was already past cap time, so
good.
But no, that also kind of ties into Joe knows the roles of his players.
Yeah,
he knows what roles they're supposed to be in. and he tries to use that, I feel like, almost too much.
Well, instead of this ham-handed segue into the rules, let's just go right into it. Just fuck with you. I kind of want Kellen to hear this, actually, so we're going to go into this right now.
Okay, perfect.
It was actually... I got to see the game a couple of weeks ago from a different vantage point.
It was awful.
It was
the hardest thing I've done in 4 years.
Well, it was
watch a game.
It was brutal
and not be on the other side of the
Isn't
fence.
It's
because
awful.
I'm watching Kellen play baseball from the other side of the fence.
From your side, parents.
And
Yee.
I'm a coach and I know exactly what to say, but did I?
Nope.
No, because I'm a coach, so I shut my freaking mouth.
We said it to each other.
Yeah. Oh crap! Whose parents behind me? Because I'm just talking shit about this kid. But no, it was interesting to watch Coach Lance be a dad instead of be a coach, and try and fight Coach Lance off to be dad for a minute.
Oh my gosh, you know how hard I fought?
It was very interesting to watch it.
It was tooth and nail, bro. I can't, like, the coach in me would not go away and was kicking and screaming the whole time.
Oh man, do I know how you feel?
But I went to coach. I don't know. You probably caught this. I went to say numerous things when he was at bat because I knew it was the right things to say, and I stopped myself.
They're fun
Because it's not the time for me to coach him.
I'm not the freaking coach.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
I'm not the coach.
I'm not the coach. I'm not in game. I'm not managing.
Yeah.
I don't know what's going on in the game because I even got there late for that matter. I'm not doing that stuff. So I don't know how your team's reacting in the dugout. I'm not there.
Yeah.
As a parent, I'm not inside there. I don't know what's going on.
It's not
So-
my dugout.
It's not my dugout. So I can't tell Kellen what I think he needs to hear.
One of the funniest parts was Coach Lance's wife walked over to see if Kellen needed any water. What? Don't be that parent. Get out of the dugout. Get away from the dugout. You know, and she was not all that happy about that.
I think she chuckled about it and she was like, "He's my kid. I can do it." I'm like, "Yes, I know, but leave now."
All right, go home. You got two other kids at home.
No, I would never say that. But but she wanted to see if he needed water. We both knew that he had plenty of water.
I bought 4 waters before the game started.
She
It's
didn't.
his fault if he drank them all.
Right? She didn't know that
if he needs to drink bad enough, he'll figure it out.
It's a water buffalo.
He is. That's all he does is drink.
But
Drink water, that is.
yeah, it's like trying to get back into the rules.
Yes, rolls. Sorry, go ahead.
Using that as a guide. He hit a ball against a pitcher that he's never going to see again. And I thought he hit it out, but it was foul. Apparently, it did not get out.
It didn't even get out. It was about 5 feet short. I found out.
I couldn't see it over the dugout.
Right.
And we kind of recalibrated after, like, oh, that was great. Like, hey, really glad that didn't get out, because then he's thinking he should be hitting the ball out of the ballpark, and that's not what I want him to do. And the next pitch, probably a complete accident, was the perfect pitch to throw after a kid hit a ball off the fence foul against you.
Right.
He threw a curveball down and away in the dirt. I can't tell you how much validation as a coach I felt when he took that pitch.
Oh my gosh.
And then the next pitch, he hit a rocket back up
right
the middle.
center.
Oh my God. He is listening. You know?
The complete joy that came over your face in that instance. I think the only thing that could top it maybe would have been if it was your own kid.
Likewise on the foul ball.
Oh, I know.
Yeah.
Oh, I was like, I was leaning hard, bro. Let me tell you. Go, get out of here.
Here's Bucky Dent. And
You know, I wanted to see him do it. I did want to see him do it, and you're right. Hindsight, well, not hindsight, but then his next, well, the rest of that at bat was then played out perfectly by him.
yeah, yep,
He didn't go chasing that curveball to try to Javier Baez it out of the park.
bro. That's a perfect pitch of throwing that.
It was, absolutely. You throw that off speed, the ball is breaking away, and you expect the batter to chase. Oh, they got excited about hitting a ball almost out. I'm gonna crush this one now.
Let me see how I can get you to ground the ball to shortstop by throwing you soft and away.
Right. So again, executed well, whatever, but he took it. And you're absolutely right. The validation that came across, understanding that he understood what was coming next.
Yeah.
Maybe by accident, maybe not. I don't know.
Right.
But then I was actually more impressed with his next at bat.
When he got hit.
No. No, because he was pissed then. No, but his next at bat was they played a doubleheader, so his next at bat was
Next game.
the next game. But he didn't take the mindset in of try and hit the ball out still, because then that ball that was hit was an even better hit.
Yeah.
That was more in the right center gap, and the ball that is actually probably his best.
I was gonna say that's
His
where,
best hit.
That's where he's.
That's
always
where
been
he's
best.
strong.
That's where he's always been best.
Is
is
right center.
field.
That's where he gets his arms extended, he gets his legs driven into the ball, and he's able to drive it with power that way.
Yeah, and he's
The problem he gets is he gets overexcited, if you will, or his timing gets off, or he's in front of the ball too much, and he's trying to pull it, trying to pull everything, which I want to say, that's what I feel like the Cubs were trying to do
right.
that whole game.
Absolutely. Well, yes, they were trying to pull the ball, but it goes deeper than that. Every single one of them was trying to do too much.
Yes. Hit the ball where it's pitched.
And I saw that again in that same game with Kellen playing. Is there's a play, there's a runner at third base, there's a runner at second, the ball's hit to the outfield, the ball comes home, the runner gets held at third base. The ball comes to the plate, kid goes to second. What's the right play there? Hold the freaking baseball.
Yeah. Don't throw that ball to
The
second
catcher, trying to do too much, throws the ball to second, it goes to center field, run scores, kid goes to third. Now all of a sudden, hey, jackass, we had 2 outs, runners at second and third, we need to get the batter out and we're good. Now they've scored a run, and on pass ball, they're scoring another one.
Yeah.
Because you tried to make an out that shouldn't have even been attempted.
Right.
No, and that's just it. The roles that each kid plays, that's the hard part, though. We know them. Do they know them? You know?
Well, as a coach, you need to relay those roles to them.
Absolutely. But in real time, roles change in mid-game. We all know that. Sometimes you are expected to be, hey, yeah, go ahead and swing freely. Or now, all of a sudden, something's changed. Now I need you to...
Roles change with every pitch.
Bingo. So sometimes it's hard to communicate. So it takes a tuned-in baseball player to really, be able to take advantage of his role.
You were saying, well, I'm intrigued to hear what you have to say because I
don't believe your role changes with every pitch. I believe your approach changes with every pitch. I don't believe your role changes. Your role changes with the at-bat. Now, it kind of goes hand in hand, but...
It's a nebulous topic.
If there's a runner at first and he steals second, then your role might change.
right.
Yes.
Okay, but if there's a runner at first and he doesn't steal second, your role's not changing. What are you trying to do there? You're still trying to hit the ball behind the runner.
Yeah.
Okay. Or, instead of trying to play small ball, the runner at first, try to hit the baseball hard in between the gap. From gap to gap. That's what we're trying to do. Okay, we're trying to hit the fastball from gap to gap, and we're trying to pull breaking stuff. So we're staying on schedule. Okay. Not that we have to pull the breaking stuff, but if we're
Sometimes it's better to not pull the breaking
Yeah,
stuff.
I didn't say that exactly as I was thinking. But if we're trying to pull a fastball, we're not going to hit the breaking stuff.
Right.
Okay, that's why we're trying to hit the fastball from gap to gap, so we're staying on the ball longer.
It's the same thing. You hear amateur, rookie, I can't say amateur, but rookie managers or rookie coaches coaching youth saying hit the ball at the middle, hit the ball at the middle, hit the ball at the middle, because they hear that. What they really need to be saying is, guys, hit the ball gap to gap.
Mm-hmm.
Not up the middle necessarily, but the gap to gap is up the middle. But don't try to just hit it directly up the middle. That's not the point of it.
Right.
The point is to hit it, essentially what it is from your shortstop to your second base.
Right.
Or as we always say, gap to gap, because that's where the outfielders are not.
Well, the only thing that I did say to Kellen before his at bat, he looked over at me. I said, he's got a bad curveball that he's trying to throw. Go hunt the fastball.
Hunt the fastball. And the broadcast that I was watching, they were actually talking about, Jessica Mendoza was actually talking about hunting the fastball for these hitters, these major league hitters. That's what they're looking for. They want a fastball. They don't want the off-speed stuff.
No.
They don't even want a high slider, in all honesty,
No.
because that ball's moving away, moving in different ways at the bat. Yes, if they get a high slider, they should be taking it, or they should be trying to crush that thing. Don't get me wrong, but
not a high slider, but a cement mixer.
yes,
Yeah, a ball that just sits there and spins.
Yes.
But doesn't go anywhere. That's the pitch that they want to hit.
yeah,
But
your BP fastball.
yeah, but you're going out hunting the fastball.
You hunt
Let him
the fastball.
throw you a curveball.
Yep, it's okay to see a curveball on strike two,
Yeah. If
and not go after
If
it.
he's throwing you curveball after curveball after curveball,
He's
the chances of him getting 3 strikes before he gets the 4 balls, if he throws you
or
6
hanging
curveballs,
one.
yeah,
Or hanging one or the other.
Yeah.
stay on it. If you
Stay on it.
yeah, if he's throwing you curveball after curveball, you're going to see it. You're
Yep.
going to see. You're going to be able to see the hand motion. You're going to be able to see the break. You're going to be able to pick up the spin early, especially if you're hunting a fastball. Sometimes that requires you out on your front foot because you're trying to hit the fastball. Your foot gets down, and then all of a sudden there's that big hump that comes. So you're out in front. That's why. Then it's heel, hips, hands. Okay.
And that's
So-
why your foot doesn't come down, your toe gets down.
Right.
Your front toe gets down. And then when you're ready to activate those hips, that's when that heel drops.
Right.
And you drive with your hips.
Yep. Absolutely. So that's
So did we touch
really.
on rolls enough?
not really.
Well,
Okay,
yeah, I
what-
was just gonna.
We still have some. So talk.
We got about 10 minutes.
Lead
What
it.
I
We have
was
a little
gonna
bit more, but
also
lead it.
bring into about roles is, especially youth baseball is a little bit different, and it's not that different really. I mean, kids have certain spots, and as a coach, that is your role on the team. Sometimes you on championship Sunday, guess what? Your kid, his role might be, hey, I really like what he can do over in right field. Okay, so yeah, maybe he plays. Or hey, you know what? Your role might be, this kid is the fastest kid on the team. He's been struggling hitting. His role today, he's going to be a pinch hitter role. And when he gets in that situation, then he gets to come into the game. Don't devalue that. Don't pump that kid up. Let him understand that his role, although it might not seem as important as all the other kids' role,
No.
it's one of the most important roles.
As
So-
a parent, just because your kid's role isn't what you want it to be,
Don't diminish that role.
doesn't mean it's not the right role for the kid at the time. And if you don't trust me, then I don't.
Not
he's
just
not
kid,
on my team.
not just kid at the time, team at the time.
Yeah,
Right.
Team.
If
But don't get in the car after the game and say, "Oh, they just sat you on the bench all day. That's they're wasting your time." Blah blah blah. Instead, get in the car with them and say, "You know what? I know that must have been a hard sell, but guess what? You were there. You know that's an
about-
important job that you've got."
how about we don't say anything and we ask the player what their thoughts are?
You're gonna say, "Wow,
Yeah.
well, why do
Yeah.
we
Ask the coach.
why do we have
No,
to
not the coach, the player.
Yeah, I mean, you get,
Because with the way I coached, I didn't want to talk about the game after the game with parents because there's too much emotions in it. I'm still coming down. I'm still thinking about the game. Don't approach me about the game
I'm
necessarily.
kicking myself in the throat
Yeah.
for the next 45 minutes.
the whole time home, it takes half an hour for us to decompress after a game at least, and sometimes more.
it takes me talking it out with you.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying by decompress. Like talking about some of the things that we decided to do or was decided upon during the game. It takes some talking out. So, but what? Ask the player what their thoughts are.
Why do we
before giving them what
Right.
their thoughts are? Ask the player what their thoughts are on it. Why?
Sure.
Ask. Hey, do you know why the coach did this?
Why do we have to say anything in the car?
Well, nothing has to be said in the car. It's just an easy time to talk about it.
And we know. I use that as
I'm just saying. Oh, wow.
generality.
We do it.
The
I do it. I did it with
they're gonna
Kellen.
have a conversation in the car if they were watching the game. You know, so.
Absolutely. I'm just
It's
saying.
just an easy
But you're
time.
right. It doesn't need. It's unnecessary. But you know,
But
just wanted to point that out.
as
that
a parent, you want to know how the kid, whether they played the full game or they sat the whole game. You want to know how the kid's doing. That's why you ask, hey, how was the game? You know, what did the coach say? What were your thoughts? Da 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 da. Instead of imparting your own thoughts into the child,
Rightly or wrongly.
rightly or wrongly, let them have their own thoughts.
Right.
Because if you say one thing and they thought differently, do you think they're going to want to tell you differently than what you're thinking? No, because you've taught your child to respect your thoughts and your wishes and whatever. So they'll maybe agree with you to disagree in a way.
I'll give
Or
you. I'll
just
give a
maybe
perfect
start
example.
agreeing with you and thinking that you're correct.
I'll give a perfect example. Tommy LaStella. Okay. If your kid is Tommy LaStella on your baseball team, you as a parent maybe are not stoked about your kid filling the Tommy LaStella role. But let's look at it from our perspective. As a Cubs fan, I love me some Tommy LaStella because he's a valuable guy to have on your ball club.
As a coach, I needed Tommy LaStella.
Exactly. You get my point. Like it's easy to look at it through the single prism of I'm a parent or I'm a player, but it's much more important to look at it through the prism of the team. And if you look at it through a different perspective, it makes a lot more sense.
It's hard for parents to do that, I think.
Right. That's where I would explain it to you. Hey, look at Tommy LaStella. You know, you're not sitting there complaining about him not getting a ton of playing time, are you? No, you're happy that he's available when he's available. You know, exactly. So it's just something to keep in mind as a parent when you're looking at your kid and you're wondering what's going on. They play a role. They have a strong point for everybody has their strengths and weaknesses, and we're going to use those to our advantages as coaches. That's our job.
No one's ever had Derek Jeter and thought, I don't think he's that good. I'm going to put him out in right field.
Exactly.
I bet they did.
There's probably been that guy, but
No, I'm saying
Yeah.
back in Little League or travel ball or whatever he played, I bet he played right field at some point in time.
At some point in time, but not where he got into the car. Oh, your coach is just wasting your talent. You are waves. Your kid probably sucks. I want to be completely honest with you.
If they're out in right field,
No.
Is that what you're saying?
If your kid basically is in a platoon role with another kid and you think the kid that he's in a platoon role with sucks, your kid probably sucks too. Let's just be completely honest with you, and then
Wow,
let's
you're a
figure
dick.
out. No, it's not.
man,
It's not an attempt to be a dick. It's an attempt to understand what you're seeing. Okay.
And as a parent, if you have a coach that's, obviously, if you're talking to Coach Patrick about this, if you're a parent and this is one of his kids that he's coaching, he's not going to be that blunt about it.
Right.
But me as a parent, I'm going to respect you being blunt. Maybe not that forceful, but I'd rather have you tell me, hey, you know what, your kid really actually needs to
I had that
work
this
on
year.
a lot.
I would never say to your face or your kid's face that he sucks at baseball. But if you ask me for my opinion and why this is what it is, I'm going to tell you exactly why. And if you don't want to hear it, don't ask me the question.
Right, but I would rather have you tell me that than.
And I think we have to understand here as
And that sounds like I'm being a dick, and I'm not.
no, you're not. What you're saying is you're going to be honest with them,
Right.
Bingo.
And as un-PC as you sound right now, That is not how you approach that is not how you personally approach the parents that you talk to.
Absolutely not.
So I understand it. I'm making sure that they get it. What I had to do it this year with a kid that I love, parents that I love. But I had to actually essentially tell the parents that their child needs to get better. And he did.
And he did. And he did.
And he
the
did.
The parents put the work in.
Yep.
And the kid put the work.
And the kid understood what he had to do. And then he dropped off because he stopped putting the ball in play. Mm-hmm. And so he wasn't, his bat wasn't overvaluing or wasn't making him as valuable.
His mistakes.
Well, we can't even say mistakes, but because he really wasn't making many mistakes in the field.
No, he was doing well.
But he still turned into an automatic out in the batter's box.
Yeah.
Back towards the later of the season. And that's awful to say about a kid, but
that's when the work, I think, became, I will say,
it's where the games
complacent.
Overplayed
No.
the practices.
Okay, but the practices weren't. I think the extra work that he was getting got complacent because he was performing so well.
Yes, probably.
So
then it was right. So then it backed off. They may have backed off or whatever they did, but yes, then the hitting started to struggle again.
Right. My main point in this whole conversation was
I was going to ask you to lead where you wanted to go.
I don't want a kid like Kellen thinking I need to hit home runs, because with the mashers that are going to be hitting behind him in the order, I need him on base, not hitting 236 with 14 bombs. I need him hitting 356 with no home runs. Make sense?
I'll take one or two. But they should come naturally. They shouldn't come forced.
I don't want him to get Ryan Theriot disease.
Right.
Where he ends up hitting a windblown home run at Wrigley Field, and then all of a sudden he thinks he's a power hitter, and his average falls from,
well, what he batted
312 to
he batted nearly 600. Yeah. 550, I think, is where he finished. And again, batting average, but just to prove a point, yes, because you were talking about BA. Yes, if he continues that pace, if he's 450 to 550, and he's on base in front of the 3, 4, 5 hitters, if that's his role where he's going to be at, then he's doing what he's supposed to do. He's supposed to get on base. And if he hits...
And apparently he's the speedster.
We've talked about this, and yeah. There he goes. He heard that, and now he's bragging about it.
Well, if you're the second fastest on the team, why are you last in sprints?
Ooh.
Okay. So, but that's where I was going with it. Is
okay.
I don't want... And the role is not. I'm not talking about the bench role. I'm talking about the role in the batting order.
Role in the batting order. Role on the field.
Yeah.
Yes.
There are kids hitting behind him in the order that are going to hit the ball out of the ballpark. Doesn't mean that he can't.
Right.
But he is not as valuable getting out as much as those other kids when he runs the bases as well as he does. Mm-hmm. The value comes from him being on second base.
Yeah,
when the ball's hit into the gap.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Absolutely. So, and that's where again he needs to understand where not only his role in the lineup is, whether it's 2 or 6 or 8 or 3, whatever it may be. But he also needs to understand where his role for his bet. I'm going to use the word role. We're not talking about it, but where he performs best at, as far as where he's driving the ball.
Right.
And we talked about this earlier, where his best hitting is when the ball's going to right center. To that right center gap. He's staying on the baseball. He's able to get extended. He's able to use those hips, and he's able to drive through the ball. Now, again, if he pulls the ball and he's not out front of it, he can do some damage. But if, again, knowing your role in the batting lineup is what you're talking about here. Now, if you're a one hitter, they kind of change, whatever. Two hitter.
This is a conversation that I am not going to get into right now because we don't have the time.
You're right.
So we'll talk about let's talk about that next week. Let's pick up right where we left
off.
Put
a pin in it. Got it.
Because that is a 4-hour topic right there.
It could be. You're right.
So
lots of different
different schools of thought, stuff that we need to talk about.
Yeah.
And I want to talk about it.
Perfect.
It's been something that's been on my list for a while. So
perfect. Well, we touched on roles. We talked a lot about the Cubs. Sorry, we talked a little bit more about that than we had anticipated. But I think we were able to.
It's top of mind for nationally because people are seeing that and it's playoff baseball right now. October
that was
baseball,
a great game too. I mean,
I loved watching it because I thought the pitching was phenomenal.
I was pacing.
Yes.
So it's just. I think we're gonna wrap this up.
Mm-hmm.
Did you guys? We are going to set up a Patreon account hopefully in the next couple of days, and what we're gonna do is no, not yet.
Let's get it set up first.
Okay.
Sorry, I don't want to cut you off,
right?
But we didn't talk about that prior to. So our plan is to set up an account. We will let you all know when it is set up.
We talked about the Rally Ribbon Initiative, and we really like where that went to. Where
we want to give back to our community,
right? To kids, we want to help out kids.
Absolutely,
help out kids that maybe aren't getting a chance to play baseball because of some stupid disease or illness. So we want to make sure that we do our part because that's what we do.
Yes,
is we give our time and our money and our effort to help kids out, and we want to continue to do that and in other ways as well. So, did you guys have anyone that you thought of or we want to talk about that off air? As far as the charity this month.
Oh. Let's talk about that off air and make sure we get and then we can have one set.
Cool. All right. We good?
I think we're good.
Yeah.
Thanks everyone.
Yeah.
You good?
Definitely.
Thanks, Jobu.
Later.
Later.